Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to think about the last time you told someone your dream. The last time you sat across from a friend or a family member or someone you trusted with your whole heart and you opened up. You told them what you wanted, what you were working toward, what kept you up at night, not because of fear, but because of possibility. You told them about the fire inside you. And then something changed. Maybe they laughed. Maybe they didn't laugh. Maybe that would have been easier. Maybe they just looked at you with that expression. You know the one. That slight tilt of the head. That almost sympathetic smile. And then the words came. Are you sure that's realistic? Or maybe it was, I'm just saying this because I care about you. Or perhaps the quietest, most devastating version of all. They said nothing. They just nodded and changed the subject, as if your dream was too fragile, too foolish, too small or too large to even deserve a conversation. Open your eyes. Because what happened in that moment when someone else's doubt entered your sacred space, that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. That is the conversation that can change your life if you are brave enough to have it with yourself. My name doesn't matter as much as what I'm about to tell you. What matters is that I have stood exactly where you are standing. I have sat in rooms where people told me I was too much. I have walked corridors where people whispered I was not enough. I have held dreams so big they scared even me. And I have made the mistake. Oh, I have made the costly, painful, heartbreaking mistake of sharing those dreams with the wrong people at the wrong time. And today, I want to give you something, not a technique, not a 5-step plan, not a formula you can write on a sticky note and put on your mirror. I want to give you wisdom, hard-won, lived-in, sometimes painful wisdom about the 6 things you should never, and I mean never, share with anyone, not because you should live in secrecy, not because other people are your enemies, but because some things, some sacred, powerful, growing things inside of you, they need protection before they need an audience. Let me tell you about a seed. When a farmer plants a seed in the ground, he doesn't dig it up every 3 days to show the neighbors how it's doing. He doesn't hold it up to the light at a dinner party and say, "Look everyone, look at my future harvest." He protects it. He waters it in private. He guards it against the frost. He believes in it before anyone else can see it. Because the seed, in its most vulnerable stage, does not need witnesses. It needs soil, water, darkness, and time. You are that seed. And the 6 things I'm going to share with you today, these are the things that must stay in the soil. They must stay in the dark, nourished by your own belief, watered by your own effort, guarded by your own silence, until they are strong enough to push through the ground and stand in the sun for all the world to see. Are you ready? Because this is not going to be comfortable. Growth never is. The first thing you should never share with anyone is your next move. I want you to hear that again. Your next move. We live in a world that is obsessed with announcing. We announce our gym goals on January 1st. We announce the business we're starting before we've written a single line of a business plan. We announce the relationship we're healing, the habit we're building, the book we're writing, the weight we're losing. We announce it all. And why? Because the announcement feels like progress. Because telling people what you're going to do releases the same feel, good chemicals in your brain as actually doing it. The dopamine doesn't know the difference between a declaration and a deed. But here's what the dopamine doesn't tell you. The moment you share your next move with someone, you have invited their energy into your process. And not all energy is clean. Not all energy is clear. Some energy is clouded by jealousy disguised as concern. Some energy is weighted with fear disguised as wisdom. And some energy, and this is the most dangerous kind, is perfectly well-intentioned but simply not equipped to hold the size of what you're carrying. Let me tell you about a young woman I once heard about. She had a dream that had been burning in her for years. A dream to go to a city far from home, to build something from nothing, to become someone the world had never quite seen before. And before she left, she made the mistake that so many of us make. She told people. She told relatives at a family gathering. She told friends over the phone. She told neighbors who smiled and nodded. And what came back to her, disguised as love, dressed up as advice, delivered with warm hands and kind voices, was doubt. The competition is too fierce. People like us don't make it in places like that. Why don't you stay here, where it's safe, where we know you, where you are already loved? And for a moment, just a moment, she almost listened. Thank God she didn't. Because here's the thing about your next move. Your next move is sacred. It is the child of your courage and your imagination. And like any newborn thing, it is vulnerable. It cannot yet defend itself. It cannot yet walk on its own. It doesn't have the legs yet to stand up against someone else's skepticism. So you must be its protector. You must carry it quietly. You must nurture it privately. You must feed it with your actions and not your words. Move in silence. Not the silence of fear. Not the silence of shame. But the silence of strategy. The silence of someone who knows that the best response to doubt is not argument. It is results. Do the work. Make the move. And let the outcome speak at a volume that no one can talk over. There is an old proverb. I love this. The lion does not announce its presence. It simply arrives. Be the lion. The second thing you should never share with anyone is your income. Now, I know some of you just shifted in your seats. I know some of you want to push back on this one. You're thinking, but shouldn't we be transparent? Shouldn't we normalize talking about money? And on a systemic level, in certain professional contexts, yes. There is a time and place for those conversations. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the dinner table conversation where you tell someone how much you earned last month. I'm talking about the moment you show your friend your bank balance to prove something to them or to prove something to yourself. I'm talking about the way we flash our success, whether intentionally or without thinking, in spaces where that information cannot be held with maturity. Because money is not just money. Money is a mirror. And when people see what you have, whether it's more than they have or less than they have, it changes how they see you. And the heartbreaking truth is, it sometimes changes how they treat you too. I have seen friendships fracture over this. Not because either person was a bad person, but because the information created a distance that wasn't there before. An invisible wall of comparison, of resentment, of why not me, that neither person chose but both people felt. And here's the other side of this that nobody talks about. Sharing your financial success before you've secured it, before it's truly stable, truly sustainable, can be like announcing your harvest in a drought. The universe has a funny way of humbling people who count their blessings too loudly. Not as punishment, not as cruelty, but because prematurity is the enemy of permanence. What you celebrate before it is complete has a way of remaining incomplete. Guard your financial journey. Protect the numbers, not out of shame, but out of strategy. Not because money is shameful. Money is energy, money is resource. Money is tool, but because the energy around money is sensitive, and sensitive things require careful handling. Build it quietly, grow it privately. And when you have built something so undeniably, so visibly, so permanently successful that there is no question, no doubt, no whisper that can undo it, then and only then let the world see. The third thing, and this is the one that may hurt the most. The third thing you should never share with anyone is your personal struggles and weaknesses. Wait, I know what you're thinking, but isn't vulnerability a strength? Didn't someone write a whole book about it? Aren't we supposed to be open, honest, authentic? Yes. And also, be wise. There is a difference between authentic vulnerability and reckless oversharing. There is a profound difference between showing your healing scar and handing someone a knife and pointing to where you bleed. Not everyone who asks how you're doing deserves to know how you're actually doing. Not everyone who leans forward with curious eyes is leaning in because they care. Some people lean in because they are collecting. They are cataloging. They are filing away every crack in your armor for a moment. Perhaps a moment that hasn't come yet, when they might need ammunition. Not all of them, not most of them, but enough of them that wisdom demands you be careful. There was a moment, and I believe many of you have had a version of this moment, where I sat across from someone I considered a friend, someone I had known for years, someone I had shared meals with, laughed with, cried with, and in a moment of exhaustion, in a moment of genuine need, I told them about my struggle. I told them about the thing I was carrying that I hadn't told anyone else. The fear, the insecurity, the thing I was working on in the hidden rooms of myself. And that person I trusted, used it. Not in a dramatic, villainous way. Not the way it happens in movies. But in small, subtle, surgical ways. In a comment made in front of others. In a story retold with just enough detail to be recognizable. In a moment when their opinion of me shifted. Not toward compassion, but toward condescension. As if knowing my weakness made them feel taller. And the lesson I learned, the lesson I carry with me like a stone in my pocket, is that your struggles are sacred. They are not content for other people's entertainment. They are not cautionary tales for other people's dinner parties. They are your transformation story, and they deserve to be told only when you are ready. Only when the transformation is far enough along that the story has a hero. And that hero is you. Be selective. Be intentional. Find your one person. Find your circle of 2 or 3. The people who have proven, not promised, but proven with their actions and their loyalty and their silence, that they can be trusted with the fragile, the unfinished, the tender parts of you. And to everyone else, you are doing great. You are working on it. You are getting there. Smile and mean it. Because not everyone has earned the privilege of your pain. The 4th thing you should never share with anyone is your good deeds. Oh, this one runs deep. There is something in us, something generous, something warm, something genuinely beautiful, that wants to be recognized for the good we do. We want people to see our kindness. We want the world to notice our sacrifice. We want someone to say, "You are good. What you did was good. You are enough." And that hunger for recognition is human. I will never shame you for it. But I want you to understand something about the nature of good deeds done in silence versus good deeds announced to the world. When you do something kind and you tell no one, when you give without audience, when you help without hashtag, when you sacrifice without social media post, something extraordinary happens. The energy of that act stays intact. It goes directly from your heart to the universe, uninterrupted, undiluted whole. It becomes yours. It becomes a part of your character in a way that no one can take away. But when you announce your good deeds, when you tell people what you did, how much you gave, how far you went, you trade that energy for something smaller. You trade the fullness of the act for a moment of recognition. And that recognition, however sweet, however warm it feels in the moment, evaporates. It doesn't last. It doesn't build. It leaves you hungrier than before. I think about the people in history who changed the world quietly. The ones who worked not for the headline, but for the outcome. The ones who built schools in villages without press releases. The ones who fed families not for the photograph, but for the full stomachs. The ones who sat beside dying strangers in hospitals, not because anyone was watching, but because no one should die alone. Those acts, those unseen, unannounced, unwitnessed acts, they are the architecture of a noble soul. They are the thing that cannot be taken away because they were never handed to anyone in the first place. Do good. Do it constantly. Do it fiercely. But let the sky be your witness. Let your own soul keep the record. Because the person whose good deeds live only in their own heart and in the hearts of those they helped, that person is unshakable. No one can diminish what no one else fully knows. No one can rewrite a story that was never told out loud. Your goodness is not a performance. It is a practice. And the most sacred practices happen in private. The 5th thing you should never share with anyone is your family problems. Please hear me on this one. Please let this one land. Every family has a darkness. Every family has a room with a locked door. Every family has conversations that happen behind closed walls that would shock the neighbors, confuse the friends, and confirm every fear of people who were already looking for reasons to judge you. And when we are in pain, when the walls of that locked room press in and the darkness feels suffocating and we need air, it is so tempting to open that door, to tell someone outside the family, to lay the whole complicated, messy, painful, human truth of your family on the table and say, look at what I'm carrying. Look at what they did. Look at what I've survived. And sometimes you need to do that with a therapist, with a counselor, with a safe, trained, boundaried professional